Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and nothing triggers the liberals right now like the Supreme Court. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. The world has been waiting, and certainly this country has been waiting. Fannie Willis has been waiting. Jack Smith has been waiting for the immunity case of former President Donald Trump to be decided on by the Supreme Court. Heck, it could even affect District Attorney Alvin Bragg's case, in which Trump was already convicted, when it goes for appeal. This is a major, massive ruling that will not only impact former President Donald Trump, but impact the presidency forever. And liberals, well, they're starting to freak out about it because the court's not doing it quick enough for them. Now, here's my prediction. My prediction is they're going to be really even more frustrated when the immunity case is decided, because I believe the decision will not be in favor or against. I believe they'll kick it back to the lower courts, have it drag through the lower courts, and then come back up to the Supreme Court, which means there's no chance Trump gets on trial this year. And then, well, then he could be president. Watch this report and watch this absolute meltdown on CNN, and then leave me your comments on what you think should happen with this case.
Tonight, we are still waiting on rulings from at least 20 cases that are left on the Supreme Court's docket. It's still quite packed, and that includes the biggest blockbuster of them all, Donald Trump's claim of immunity from criminal prosecution. In the New York Times today, you might have read this. One legal expert wrote, "Something's rotten about the justices taking so long on Trump's immunity case." If past is prologue, as Leah Lippman argues in that article, Trump's case should have been decided by now. What we know, of course, is when you look at the calendar, 111 days have passed since the court agreed to hear this case. Now compare that to Watergate, when then President Nixon was arguing immunity from a subpoena that was seeking his Oval Office recordings, and the Supreme Court made that decision in 54 days. I want to get perspective tonight from John Dean, who is the former White House counsel to President Nixon. And it's great to have you, John, because I don't know, when you look at this and you see what Leah is arguing in her article today, do you believe it's taking an unusual amount of time? Are you suspicious of this?
Caitlin, I'm very suspicious of this. There's just absolutely no reason for it. It was 16 days from argument to decision in Nixon versus U.S., where they got the tapes from him. So there really is not a clear explanation of what's going on. You noted the number of decisions, important decisions, that haven't been issued yet. There's a lot of administrative law kind of decisions, which really are not as important in the bigger picture. They are to the litigants, but not to the fate of the nation, as the one they're now sitting on for some 100 days. So there is not a good explanation at this point.
Yeah, and I think the other part of this is it is a historically sluggish court. The Wall Street Journal looked at this and noted that the justices here are completing decisions at the second slowest rate that we've seen from the Supreme Court since their 1946 term. And April was a very busy month for them. But I wonder, when you do look at this, how much of it is a matter of the process and making a big decision like this one versus, when people see it as maybe a political delay, as Leah Lippman is suggesting here?
Well, the fact that the number of decisions that are backed up would really, some of the proponents are trying to really disassemble the administrative state. And I'm sure there's contentions within the court itself that could prolong and protract those decisions just in the normal course. Then you add in the immunity case for Trump, which was actually, has been some 6 months they've been sitting on that, or ignoring it, if you will, or not facing it, or not telling the public what the decision is, because the special counsel, Jack Smith, brought it in initially in December as an emergency proceeding. So the court certainly knows the prosecutors think it's important to get this decided. Yet, as I say, if it comes out in June, hopefully it will not get pushed over until July. This is a long time on that case.
Yeah, and ultimately, we could see this as soon as tomorrow, potentially. Tomorrow is a Supreme Court day. We never know what's going to come down. Do you think, though, ultimately, when it does come out, that Trump's immunity claim fails?
It should, by all precedent, by all history. I can't imagine any argument that could grant him total immunity. There is total immunity, which was extraordinary at the time, in civil cases for presidents. While judges and members of Congress have immunity from their work in their legislative work or judicial work per se, presidents have never needed it because, it has just not been an issue after Fitzgerald versus Nixon. So now we're into the criminal area, and nobody else has criminal immunity in the entire federal system. So the fact that Trump wants absolute immunity is extraordinary. I can't believe, Caitlin, he's going to get it. Can't believe it.
It's just remarkable. I spent part of the day today, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm so nerdy, but I was reading some of the transcripts of the Nixon Oval Office recordings and conversations with you. It's just remarkable. John Dean, it's great to have you weigh in on this. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thanks, Caitlin.